Most women don't suddenly lose themselves as adults. It usually begins when they are little girls. Quietly, in small moments no one thinks are harmful. A girl laughs too loudly, and someone says, "Be quiet, good girls don't act like that." A girl cries because something hurt her feelings, and someone says, "You're too emotional." A girl shares a big dream, and someone laughs, "Don't be ridiculous." And that's the moment something subtle begins to change. Not outside, but inside her identity. Because that girl slowly learns something powerful and dangerous. Being accepted is more important than being authentic. But here is the real question. What happens to a woman when she spends years becoming who everyone wants, instead of discovering who she actually is? Where does her real self go? Does it disappear, or does it simply hide somewhere deep inside her? Childhood is the time when we learn how love works. Children are not born trying to please everyone. They are naturally curious, expressive, emotional, authentic, but very early. Many girls begin receiving a subtle message. Love must be earned, approval must be maintained, and being a good girl becomes the safest identity. A good girl is quiet. A good girl does not argue. A good girl does not make people uncomfortable. And slowly, being loved becomes connected to being agreeable, not being real. Imagine a young girl. She raises her hand in class, excited. She has an idea, but the teacher interrupts her. "Let someone else speak." She learns, "Maybe my voice is too much." Another moment, she tells her parents she is angry. Instead of listening, they say, "Stop being dramatic." She learns, "Maybe my feelings are inconvenient." Another moment, she expresses a bold dream, something big, something ambitious, and someone laughs. "That's unrealistic." She learns, "Maybe my dreams are embarrassing." So the girl begins to adapt. She becomes quieter, kinder, more agreeable, more careful. She studies people's reactions. She adjusts her personality, little by little, piece by piece, until something strange happens. She becomes the version of herself that everyone approves of, but not necessarily the one she truly is. And here's the twist most people never talk about. The world praises this transformation. She becomes known as the nice girl, the polite girl, the responsible girl, the mature girl. Everyone says, "She's such a good girl," but no one asks a deeper question. What did she have to sacrifice to become that version of herself? Psychologists sometimes call this self-silencing. When someone learns to suppress their authentic thoughts, emotions, and needs in order to maintain acceptance. Over time, this behavior becomes automatic. A woman may grow up believing she is naturally agreeable, low maintenance, easygoing, independent, but sometimes these traits were not her original personality. They were survival strategies, strategies learned in childhood to avoid rejection, to avoid conflict, to avoid being too much. And when this happens, a strange psychological effect appears. The woman becomes extremely good at adapting to others, but slowly loses connection with herself. She may ask questions like, "Why do I feel empty sometimes? Why do I struggle to know what I really want? Why do I feel guilty when I say no? Why do I feel uncomfortable expressing anger?" The answer is often hidden in childhood conditioning. But here is the hopeful truth. Your authentic self was never destroyed. It was only hidden behind years of adaptation. And the process of rediscovering yourself often begins with very small steps. Learning to notice your real feelings, even the uncomfortable ones. Allowing yourself to disagree sometimes. Expressing needs without apologizing. Letting yourself be seen without carefully editing your personality first. At first, this can feel strange, even scary, because your nervous system learned long ago that authenticity could threaten acceptance. But slowly, something beautiful happens. The woman begins returning to herself, not the version that was shaped by expectations, but the one that existed before she started shrinking to fit the room.
One of the most powerful moments in a woman's life is when she realizes this truth. She was never too much. She was simply taught to become less. And the journey of self-growth is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. I'm curious about something. Did anyone ever tell you as a child to be less loud, less emotional, or less ambitious? If that happened to you, comment "good girl" below. I want to see how many women learned this lesson growing up.